Thanks for joining us, Alex. When you look at the work of Julie Inman-Grant in Australia and indeed what her collusions with people like Nina Jankovic, even without misinformation and disinformation laws, we ought to be worried, shouldn't we, about censorship online during an election campaign?
Yeah, Chris, we absolutely should be, as a general principle, I think, worried about censorship online. This is a new area of tech, and it is something that the law just simply, in my view, is not getting right at this stage. Australia is really in a tug of war between online censorship and online free speech at the moment, and I'm not sure that the tide is really going in the direction of free speech, I have to say. I think what we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months in Parliament has been quite staggering in terms of the amount of incursions and attempted incursions that the Labor government has placed on free speech. We've seen, first of all, the Digital Identity Bill, which has its own carve-outs for problems for free speech. That passed. Then we saw the defeat of the Misinformation and Disinformation Bill, thankfully. But we did also see the passing of the under-16 social media ban for children, which we still don't know how that is going to work. And in fact, I've asked questions about that, and we're told that which platforms are going to be in and which platforms are going to be out are still a work in progress. So this is a very, very difficult area for legislators. And frankly, my concern is the use of things like children's safety to otherwise put a chilling effect on free speech. You've got to remember, the Office of the E-Safety Commissioner began as the Office of the Children's E-Safety Commissioner, and that bracket creep has now progressed to the point where the office is sending out informal notices. We know that over the term since 2021 of this office has been in power, 5,000 informal notices have been sent out to the various platforms, and only 10 formal notices under the statutory powers. So, look, the creep is on, and people should be concerned, and this should be a bigger issue for Parliament.
Yeah, and there needs to be more clarity, more transparency. Obviously, the misinformation and disinformation legislation's been flicked. It's not happening, but I think people have relaxed because that's not happening. And history is our guide here. We know that all this censorship during COVID, which you did such great work to uncover, that was secret. The government never announced they were doing that, neither the Coalition nor Labor. And it was done under existing bureaucratic controls, existing laws. So even under the existing arrangements, the sort of attitudes we've seen from Julie Inman-Grant, we could easily see crucial debates in the election campaign censored online. I'm thinking things like climate change and energy debates, issues around terrorism and radicalisation and anti-Semitism. These are all the sorts of areas where they can decide something goes too far, even if it's truthful.
Yeah, that's spot on in the sense that we don't know what powers are out there and how they're being used. And in fact, I only stumbled on the work of the Department of Foreign Affairs during, Home Affairs, I should say, during COVID because of the Twitter files scandal in the United States and what we learnt from Elon Musk taking over Twitter and what we saw out of them in terms of the Hunter Biden laptop and the other things that came out when he took the reins. That led me to do some investigation locally and to discover that the department here, the Department of Home Affairs, was engaging with private businesses, PR firms and others in order to scour the internet for things that Australians were saying about COVID, many of which turned out to be quite true, and having those referred back to the various platforms for what is basically bureaucratic censorship. You're absolutely right. We don't know about this stuff because there is so much power in the bureaucracy in this country, and that, of course, falls, many cases, to the whims of their own worldview, which I suspect are not the worldviews in many cases of Australians on the street.
Well, I can tell you, we've confirmed, following up on your work, I've confirmed that $3 million of taxpayers' money through the Department of Foreign Affairs has gone to a London-based information watchdog on a program to monitor social media in Myanmar. So that's the sort of stuff that's going on with our money. That's not going to affect censorship here, but it affects this global push, and people would be staggered to know that's what their tax dollars are being put to. Thanks for joining us, Alex. I really appreciate it. We'll keep on this issue. Alex Antic there, Liberal Senator for South Australia.